Dana Loesch, speaking for the National Rifle Association, says, "Kill them all and don't even let God sort them out." Or did she? I'm Steve Greed for Right Angle on BillWhittle.com. With me, of course, Bill Whittle and Scotta. And let's roll right now Dana Loesch's controversial new recruiting ad for the NRA.
They use their media to assassinate real news. They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler. They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again. And then they use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding, until the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and stop the madness. And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse for their outrage. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom, is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Well, I mean, I have to admit that's some pretty strong language. I took a list of some of the triggering words she used. Wait, is trigger a triggering word when it's used by the NRA? Anyway,
yes.
We've got it's they are doing this to us, and it's assassinate, Hitler, smash, burn, shut down, outrage, fight, violence, lies, clenched fist. This is really strong language. But, and this is what gets me, the reaction to it on the left. I'll give you just a couple of examples. Scott Boyette, writing for Boing Boing, the fanzine from the 80s that's still around on the internet now, says, the NRA ad says Americans need guns to shoot the resistance. And he says, now they're literally telling members to arm themselves against the resistance to an authoritarian regime. Bill?
That is precisely what we're saying.
Yeah. But
what is the problem here?
What Dana said. It's not what she said.
What is the problem here? Did the guy from Boing Boing says we are telling people to arm themselves to resistance against an authoritarian regime. Correct.
Except
yes. Any other questions for you there, Boing Boing?
Well, let me give you a follow-up, Bill. Which
Sure.
authoritarian regime is he referring to, and which authoritarian regime are you referring to?
This is the point. It doesn't matter which authoritarian regime we're referring to. We're referring to an authoritarian regime. One of the things we said during the Obama years was that these guys are governing as if they're never going to lose again, and they're certainly having a temper tantrum as if they believe that for the last 8 years too. So whenever I know because now that I'm a paid shrill for the gun death lobby, When I was doing Colin Sigmund on Grant's show, and there was right after Trump was elected, there were reports that liberals were going out to buy guns. And if Boing Boing is correct, then that should be a problem for us. We don't want the other team to arm up. Our position from the beginning was, welcome to the club.
Yes.
Congratulations. You finally figured it out. Yes, if you have the weapon, you won't have to use it. As long as there's 300 million handguns out there, we don't have to worry about any of this stuff. And I would remind Boing Boing the one thing that they never, ever, ever mention, and none of them ever mention. They don't mention it because they not only don't understand it, they can't understand it. If there was all of the stuff that they're talking about, if there were concentration camps, if there were people being taken away by night, with guys with guns, the people who would be resisting them the most are the members of the National Rifle Association and all the other armed conservatives in the country, while the liberals would be sitting there writing strongly worded letters. So they don't understand this at all, and they don't understand that this is a defensive maneuver. I would remind Boing Boing that the people who are being beaten over the head with bicycle locks and the people who are smashing are conservatives. The people smashing windows and the people who are getting beaten up for going to listen to people speak on universities are conservatives being beaten, liberals doing the smashing, liberals doing all of the burning, the rioting, all of it. So if it turns out finally that Dana Loesch has said she's had enough of your aggression, your violence, your lawlessness, and your intimidation, and we're not going to take it anymore, then that's something you probably should understand is driven by you and your behaviors, not by us and ours. And you can project on this all you want to, but the point of fact is, yes, we are here to protect ourselves against the kind of lawlessness that you represent, and on top of that, we're here to protect ourselves against the kind of collectivist government that you love so much and has worked so well and killed 200 million people throughout the history of the world. And I think that's a conservative estimate, if you'll pardon the expression.
I think we earned that word. Hey, Scott, over at HuffPo, they're saying, whether or not you agree with the message, the ad can be controversial, or at least seen that way, because of the language that Dana uses. But over at HuffPo, they did a story headline, "The NRA recruitment video is so divisive, even gun owners are angry." Scott, you're a gun owner. Are you angry at Dana or the NRA?
Well, I think we've long known that Dana Loesch was a student of the Reader's Digest section toward more picturesque speech.
Yes.
She has.
Oh, wow.
She has a gift for that. But the only thing that is more disconcerting to the left than actual living by the Second Amendment is a woman who lives by the First Amendment. And the idea that Dana Loesch, as a woman who happens to be conservative, which just flies in the face of the left's understanding of women, can stand up and basically express her opinion about a natural right that was enshrined in our Constitution by a group of people who knew what it looked like to be at the wrong end of the musket. They knew the dangers of what at that time was the C word. And I mean consolidated. Consolidated national government was the great fear of the framers of the Constitution, and that's why they set up a federal Republican system of government. That's why the first set of amendments pushed through. The only way, frankly, that the Constitution was ratified was by the promise that a set of basic human rights would be expounded in the first set of amendments. The only way that we actually have that Constitution is because there were some holdouts in some of those states that said, okay, if you guarantee our natural right to defend ourselves against predatory, oppressive government, then we'll vote for ratification. That's all Dana's saying. Now, Dana may say that in a little more muscular way than I would, but then Dana is a little more muscular than I am.
I got to tell you, I loved this ad. I especially love that it came out right around Independence Day, because this is the exact kind of inflammatory language, and that's what it is, but in a good way, inflammatory language that Thomas Jefferson used when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. He accused the British of all kinds of things, and some of that language is hyperbole. The British were not, pillaging and raping and all the rest, but we were fighting for our rights against an authoritarian regime. That is our natural right as Americans. It's our natural right as human beings. And the fact that Dana was able to take such incendiary language, because she's using it against people who aren't using these words as metaphor, but who are actually taking to the streets and committing violence against people they disagree with. And that is un-American. We fight for our rights peacefully. And if anything, you whatever you might think of Donald Trump, whatever you might think of Barack Obama, each time in the last 8 years we have had a peaceful transfer of power between political parties. That's a miracle, and that miracle is protected by our Second Amendment rights, but first by our First Amendment rights, and that is what Dana was using, just like Scott said. And what a beautiful ad. All right, that's your right angle on Dana Loesch and the NRA. I hope you enjoyed it. This is made possible by the paying members of BillWhittle.com. Click on over, join yourself. We'd love to have you on board, and happy Independence Day. It's been a great one.
Bill, before this episode, could we have a black screen with a flintlock warning?